we'll tell you what your early action measures can be. Publicly, they said quite the opposite, that ARB was in charge, that ARB would determine what to do with the recommendations of the Market Advisory Committee, etc., etc. Given that disconnect, it's not surprising that the legislature, stakeholders, and the general public had no idea what was actually going on. Once they got used to bossing ARB around their climate programs, Cali and the governor's staff started telling us what to do about air toxics, such as formaldehyde and perchloroethylene, how to spend the bond money set aside for cleaning up the air pollution associated with goods movement, and how to write our diesel emission control rules. Nothing was off limits. We'd even get calls during our regulatory hearings with specific instructions on what to do. Quote, the governor's office wants the board's resolution on the predictive model for gasoline to say that you're going to suspend part of the rule if the oil companies get direct subsidies to comply instead, end quote. When I responded that would be difficult because the chairman did not support such language, I was instructed to make it happen or else. The same thing went on at the hearing on discrete early action measures to reduce greenhouse gases. Only that time the governor's office put the touch directly on board members instead, including Chairman Sawyer. And when Dr. Sawyer did not comply, he was fired, or else was fully realized. To keep that from happening in the future, the members of the Air Sources Board need to have fixed terms. They should not be threatened with dismissal for voting their conscience, responding to public testimony, or otherwise exercising their judgment. That's what they were appointed to do. In addition, the separate roles and responsibilities of the Governor's Office, Cali, PA, and ARB need to be restored. The Governor's Office needs to set broad policy. Will we or won't we require the best available controls on the construction industry? Will we or won't we impose operational limits in the San Joaquin Valley? Will we or won't we ban formaldehyde? The governor knows how to do that when he's writing executive orders and holding press conferences. He needs to be just as clear on the day-to-day issues confronting ARB. Cali, PA needs to go back to its coordinating role, brokering information, tracking the process, and making sure other cabinet members understand what's needed to achieve California's air quality goals so that they don't thwart our objectives. The Secretary also needs to do a better job of bringing critical issues to the governor's attention. She lets the horseshoe staff push her around, even when she disagrees with them. That's a disservice to the man who appointed her and to the departments, boards, and offices she oversees. The last thing I want to talk about is personnel decisions at the Air Sources Board. Every governor, and I've worked for 5 of them, has retained the right to vet high-level hires at state agencies, such as the executive officer. However, this administration has taken over senior hires completely. Since last August, Susan Kennedy has wanted to get me out of the Air Sources Board and ordered Dr. Sawyer to make that happen on May 7th of this year. Even though I am a civil servant, I do not report to her, and my position is to be appointed in statute by the governing board. He refused to fire me after the rest of the board, which is my appointing authority. When ARB's chief counsel stepped down 2 years ago, I was prohibited from suggesting a candidate to replace her. The governor's office will decide who your attorney is, I was told. Finally, when ARB's communications director ran afoul of Adam Mendelson earlier this year, he was summarily dismissed without any say-so from the chairman or me. Take this transfer or else, he was told. ARB's new communications officer, who just started on Monday, was selected by the governor's press staff, not ARB, though Dr. Sawyer and I were allowed to talk to him. I wish him all the best because he's walked into a bit of a quagmire. ARB now needs to hire a new executive officer. That decision should be left up to the governing board. Similarly, ARB's current chief counsel is retiring at the end of this year. ARB needs a genuine air quality or climate expert in that post, not someone chosen to do the horseshoe's bidding. I believe that all of this can be turned around and that ARB, Cali, PA, and the governor's office can get on the right track. Mary Nichols is a fantastic choice to lead the Air Sources Board, and she will do great things if the governor's office will only allow that to happen. The legislature can help by remaining vigilant, asking tough questions, and demanding to hear directly from the principals involved. There is so much at stake for California and the world. We need the best thinking, the right motives, and courageous actions from everyone that has a role to play. Thank you for listening.